Hey everybody, I'm back again. This is Nicole Ali. I'm here with a science article from sciencemag.org, and the title of the article is These Smart Contacts Can Monitor the Glucose in Tears. So this is a picture of a contact lens, and it has, I think, a chip embedded into the silicone, and you can monitor glucose for diabetic patients and non-diabetic patients. So here's a video about
Just
it.
like the long-awaited jetpacks and hoverboards of tomorrow, smart contact lenses have been a long time coming. However, a new way of putting electronics into a contact lens is one step closer to making contacts that can collect information and display it. Researchers have created a contact lens that monitors glucose levels in tears and signals via an LED light. This could help diabetics do away with painful daily blood tests. In the past, contact lenses integrated with electronics were stiff and potentially harmful to the sensitive human eye. Here, the components are all flexible and, for the most part, transparent. The graphene glucose sensor, the antenna, and the LED are all embedded in a silicon hybrid substrate that sits on top of a breathable contact lens. The lens can stretch up to 30% and is around 90% transparent. The lens is powered wirelessly through an antenna that encircles the pupil, preventing obstruction of sight. When glucose levels in the wearer rise to a predetermined amount, the LED pixel turns off. Though this is a good proof of concept, there's still a ways to go. These lenses haven't been tested in people, and there isn't a practical way to power them. But with a few improvements, we could be seeing a lot more with our eyes.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. It's just showing you that it is a proof of concept. Um, so it has not been used in humans yet. Very important to note that. But they have this article. Let's see how long it is. I don't think it's too long. And no, it's not too long. So I'm going to read it, and then that will be it for this video. They start by saying jetpacks, flying cars, and smart contact lenses that monitor your health have all been better ideas than products. Now, a new study shows that at least smart contacts are getting closer to reality. Lenses with pliable, transparent electronics can measure glucose levels from tears in the eye and warn wearers if they get too high. The lenses have been tested only in animals, and they also, if you saw in the video, they used a prosthetic eye as well. But if they work in people, they could offer diabetics a pain-free way to monitor when and whether their glucose levels go out of whack, something that could send them tumbling into a coma or worse. They could die. So-called smart contact lenses were all the rage 4 years ago, as companies such as the Google spinoff Verily Life Sciences in San Francisco touted future devices that could track glucose or even detect cancer. But then the problems set in. Early attempts used rigid and opaque electronics embedded into hard contact lenses, making them uncomfortable for wearers. The glucose measurements were also unreliable. To tackle these problems, researchers led by Ji-Hoon Park, a materials scientist at the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea, designed a set of components out of soft and flexible electronic materials that, wherever possible, were also transparent. They included two devices, an antenna and a rectifier, that capture radio frequency signals from a nearby transmitter and convert them to a small amount of electricity. That charge powers a glucose sensor and a tiny green light-emitting diode, or LED, which shines outward so it's visible in a mirror but doesn't interfere with the wearer's vision. If the glucose sensor registers elevated levels, the LED turns off, warning a wearer that they may need to adjust their insulin levels. The researchers weren't able to make all the components flexible, Park says. The glucose sensor, for example, contains two rigid pads of silicone, but to make the overall lens flexible, the scientists placed these rigid components on ultra-thin islands for support, and then connected them to one another with a web of flexible wires so thin that they remain invisible to a wearer. These connected islands can move and stretch independently, in theory making the lenses more comfortable. Park says um, Park says the electronic components are so thin, only 1/100th the thickness of the soft contact into which they were incorporated, that a wearer shouldn't notice them. You shouldn't notice them, meaning that you shouldn't have any type of pressure on your eye. It should just be like wearing a regular contact lens. At least that's the hope. Park's team hasn't tested its contacts in people yet, but rabbits wearing the lenses showed no signs of any adverse reactions. They report today in Science Advances. Park says the glucose sensors also accurately tracked levels of the sugar in the animals. David Walt, a diagnostics expert at Harvard University's Weiss Institute in Boston, who was not affiliated with the work, says the combination of flexible electronics and the novel LED readout certainly is noteworthy. However, he adds, smart contacts still have a way to go before they show up on pharmacy shelves. One issue, he notes, is that the glucose sensor relies on an enzyme, glucose oxidase, to bind to the sugar and measure its levels. But that binding generates hydrogen peroxide, a reactive compound that can damage the eye. And over time, the amount of glucose oxidase in the device will decline, he says. So researchers will need a way to continuously calibrate the amount of glucose the sensors are measuring. Park agrees that future smart contacts will need to improve before patients can use them, and he won't be alone in getting there. In addition to Verily, companies including SensaMed, EPGL Med, Samsung, Sony, and Apple are reportedly looking to launch smart contact lenses soon. For now, most are silent on the details. But if the new South Korean results are any indication, new wearable diagnostic contacts may be fast approaching. And this is in the biology technology section. They have the DOI number, which is the number for related to the study. And I think this is linking us to the study. Yes. So this was the research article. The title is Soft Smart Contact Lenses with Integrations of Wireless Circuits, Glucose Sensors, and Displays. They published this January 24th, 2018. So I'll leave you to read this later. You can view the full text here as well on their website. Yeah, their full text is here, all their data, their results are listed, everything. So I may come back to this at another point, I'm not sure. But for now, I'm done with that article. It seemed pretty interesting to me. I don't know if anyone else finds it interesting, but you know, it was worth discussing because it's a new form of technology, and people who are interested in science, not just for understanding science or applying scientific techniques, but like I am, but maybe interested in the financial or political side of science. Financial meaning investments, because you heard the names of the companies that are involved or interested in this product, and that will translate on the New York Stock Exchange at some point when they actually have them on the market. I know Google probably be interested because they talked about Google Glass a couple of years ago. It may be on the market now, or it may have been integrated into the virtual reality mechanisms that they have that you can buy off the shelf now. But yeah, let me know what you think about the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later.